No, but seriously, what's up, everybody? Dimitri here, your friendly neighborhood Heyoka, and I am super excited because, well, okay, let me go ahead and tell you the real scoop of what I'm doing here today. This is a video unlike anything I've ever really made before. It's sort of a reaction video, I guess is what you could call it, but it's just something that. Okay, so in my dreamiest of dreams, I would have loved to been featured on Red Letter Media because they're one of my favorite YouTube channels and they're some of my favorite people. Seems like yes, I have a very, very unhealthy parasocial relationship with every single one of them.
I'm not crazy.
Especially that lovely peanut M&M Rich Evans. In this dream that I had, I always thought, hey, if I did something substantial as like an artist or a movie maker or something, one day I would get to talk to them and, you know, we nerd out and do the thing that they do either on Best of the Worst or review or something of that nature to where we get to talk about the movies and stuff like that. Who knows? Everybody fingers, toes, and butt cheeks crossed. That'll happen one day. But see, they already talked about something that I have just been in love with since I was a little kid. I adored the Puppet Master series. It's one of my favorite things to watch. I would skip out on things I should have done as a kid to watch these movies on the Sci-Fi Channel. It was my jam. So when I found out that Jay and Jack were talking about the movies, I was like, oh man, how can I insert myself in the most stalkerish and unhealthiest of ways? Make a YouTube video, that's how. And pretend I'm there and react to it and talk and have a little bit of fun with the boys. One day I'll get to be like, so much cat hair. One day I'll get to be with the boys. Speaking of the boy, like I'll be like Jack Quaid. So hey, let's get started and let's just pretend that I'm there with Jack and Jay and Jack. Boop. Here we are, doing our thing. All right, let's see. All right, and we're pressing play in 3, 1.
So, the last time I saw you,
hi guys,
we were filming the Best of the Worst, the
hi,
Donald Farmer's Market.
Don't ignore me.
In which your idea was to watch all the Donald Farmer movies.
Buttload of crack heroin.
And like midway through, you pulled me aside and said, "Hey, how about we watch all the Puppet Master movies too? Are you okay?"
Brilliant
these are
idea,
Donald
Jay.
Farmer free, these movies.
Oh my God. That looks like it hurts mildly worse than chlamydia. Or crabs.
What spurred this on, I remember last year.
Maybe the crabs are the ones using the chainsaw. Think about that.
And in that, I remember specifically you mentioning, oh, I love Puppet Master, little guy with the hook. And then it got me thinking, and
that's
a lot
Blade,
of people,
Jay.
especially our age, grew up in the video store era, the height of video stores.
Yes.
And even if you never saw any of them, everyone was aware.
Here's a funny little thing. I never had any of the toys. I tried to make my own puppets one time. See, this is how obsessed I was with this kind of stuff. Do you understand? Do you understand how much movies can impact us? I think, you know, Steven Spielberg, you know, saw... you know, some of the old Kurosawa movies. Peter Jackson saw King Kong and he was like, oh, I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make King Kong, and Andy Serkis is gonna play both Gollum and King Kong, and I'm gonna make that movie. Me, I saw Puppet Master and other various movies that was like, I'm gonna make those, but I tried to make my own puppets one time. I had a little Raiden doll, like Raiden from Mortal Kombat, and I tried to put a drill in his head and thinking somehow he would come alive, not really knowing a goddamn thing about engineering or magic, Egyptian or otherwise, for the stuff that if you know the movies, you know exactly what I'm talking. You'd think that I got it, but no, I tried. It didn't work. He was the only one that I had kind of looked like one of the puppets. Everything else was like a Ninja Turtle, like a RoboCop. I had a Terminator one. I had a My Pal 2. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember My Pal 2? Oh, time that's long by is a long time ago. Anyway, here we go.
There's a new one every year, so there was always a fucking Puppet Master in the new releases. And so it got me thinking, like, most people are like, oh yeah, I remember Puppet Master. I like those movies.
Yeah.
They've all seen one or two of them, and that's it.
They've all seen pieces of one or two of them. You don't like the Puppet Master movies.
Oh,
So it got-
oh, Jack. Jack, you ignorant slut. Jack, you big, adorable, bald, ignorant slut. I've seen, well, actually, no. I was probably going to mention this later, but I have seen all of them. Oh, my goodness. What the hell? I don't remember. I saw Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. But when... I can't... I think I saw The Littlest Reich. I didn't keep up with them. After Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys, I just kind of was like, oh, this is weird now. I'll move on to something else, I suppose. But yeah, I saw one where they turned evil again. I forgot which one. It's the 10th one, I think. Puppet Master X. Puppet Master meets Jason meets Tic-Tac-Toe. But there's no O's, just X. Yeah, okay, whatever. Let's keep going.
I mean, thinking like, does anyone even know how many Puppet Master movies exist? Does Charles Band know how many Puppet Master
72.
movies exist?
So we watched
Aw.
7 Puppet Master movies.
Look at little Jester. I love my poor little depressed Jester. Because as Pagliacci said, oh no, it'd be Rorschach. I need something to make me happy, doctor says. Why don't you go see Pagliacci? He's the best clown in the world. He can make everybody happy. He says, Doc, I am Pagliacci. Jester is Pagliacci.
Like, I've seen maybe the first 3, maybe up to Puppet Master 4 before, kind of in the zeitgeist. Oh, and everyone remembers Knives and Pinhead.
Yeah.
Leech Woman lives in my brain rent-free. Oh,
She
what a
disgusted a
horrifying
whole
creature.
generation of
And
horror fans.
Because they extend every single sequence in every single
She's
movie to
kinda
get
nasty.
as much meat out of every shot as possible. Her yucking up the leeches takes a takes a fucking long time. It's gross as hell.
Puppet Master, history of the series.
fair.
Very, very quickly, we'll do this. You and I previously on review talked about a couple.
It's one reason why I really dig the guys from Red Letter Media, the whole team. They got a little bit of insights. You know, it's nice to learn a little bit about what usually goes on behind the scenes with some of the stuff there. Because sometimes, I don't know, it's weird. All the information out there, you have to wonder what's really going on out there.
Of Empire Pictures classics, Reanimator and From Beyond. Empire Pictures was headed
those
by
practical
Charles
effects.
Bands, and those movies, including another Stuart Gordon movie that we didn't talk about, Dolls, which is very important because Puppet Master is basically a continuation of Dolls.
Right.
Stop motion. Dang.
But and said, hey, home video is getting very big. What if we made a series of movies direct to video? This was a new idea at the time because it's similar to like streaming now. Like everyone has a streaming service.
Yeah.
We just got to fill it with content.
Yeah.
It's not much different than the video store era where we have so much shelf space.
Hey, you know something? I'll say this as a confession to everybody out there. Well, I thought I kind of had a grasp on how movies and cinema worked. By the way, even now, I know, but kiss. Well, it's just because now it's just so vast, and the possibilities of things you can do, and all the stuff that surrounds streaming and physical media and now vertical media for your phones, specifically for your phones, all kinds of stuff that people can do nowadays. It's a little bit overwhelming to try and learn all these things, but back in the day, I didn't know that that's how stuff happened with, you know, studio level productions, indie level productions, B-movie level productions. I knew about absolutely freaking none of that. So I was always taken aback, like, hey, how come some of these movies are really kind of goofy? It's just the higher quality of stuff, and also different types of these franchises that, you know, started off good from one thing and then took a total big diuretic dump, and some of them get better. It's just so weird, and it threw me off as a kid. I had no idea. I had no fucking idea how this stuff works.
We got to keep bringing in new stuff to keep people coming back every week to the video store. So Charles Band had a deal with Paramount to make a series of direct-to-video movies. First one out of the gate, 1989, Puppet Master, was a huge success. And for close to a decade, he had a working relationship with Paramount, releasing all their movies. And because it was Paramount, it was a big studio, they got into, you know, Blockbusters and Hollywood Videos and all the main chains that some of the smaller kind of no-budget schlock just didn't have.
It makes me wonder what of those. I'd have to look it up. I wonder what of those full moon movies was considered, you know, blockbusters. I wonder what got theatrical releases. That's crazy. That's just crazy.
Access to.
This was some budget schlock.
Get him, Pinhead. Pinhead. Little lovely. I don't know why Pinhead is just brilliant on the designers, but Pinhead always looks just a little sweaty. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal, and I love it. No, Pinhead.
In the video game world, this is a coworker of mine, a friend of mine, was talking about top-down design versus bottom-up design, right? For example, if you are making a video game based off of Avatar, or based off of the Suicide Squad IP, that has to be at the top. Everything else is designed to meet that, so you don't necessarily have a good foundation, right? Because it has to, at the end of the day, be an Avatar video game. And I'm trying to think of a good example in a movie space. Oh, so like Clerks. Clerks, they had to shoot in a convenience store.
Shout out to Kevin Smith. Hope to work with you one day, sir.
Needed to go, you know, from the bottom to that top idea. But then there is bottom-up design, where you have a solid foundation that you can build off of. The example we talked about earlier was Alien. Nice idea, solid script that they could build imagery and actors and all that stuff on top of it. Where
Jack over here spitting knowledge, spitting bars. My man's got bars. All right, bars from Jack Nicholson. I think that's Jack's last name.
Whereas Puppet Master seems like center out design. They don't necessarily have an image idea. They definitely don't have a foundation.
They got puppets.
What the hell are you looking at?
Hey, you see that asshole? You see that asshole? That's why you get mutilated by the puppets, because you're mean. You're mean to the puppets. You're not supposed to be mean to the puppets. They're nice puppets when they're not murdering innocent people. All right, here we go.
The Puppet Master movies have little sparks of wonderful imagination, definitely some like creative engineering behind them, but they don't have an overarching visual element, and they don't have a solid foundation.
They don't have a story.
Oh.
That was the interesting thing about rewatching all of these.
Wrong, Jay. Wrong. As it says, signed and over here in section B/34 A26 to E section A21, the Puppet Master story is so inconsistent, but it overall has a follow-through of everything that goes on, and it says there all the things in vino veritas acquiesce requiescat in pace ad verica casum. You stole fizzy lifting drinks, Jay. Actually, no, he's right. The story is so convoluted and non-linear, and nothing actually stays with the same. It was, again, see, it goes back to what I said before, that it was just so I didn't know that I think I understood, you know, like Terminator 1 and then Terminator 2, Predator 1, Predator 2. There was a clear like linear progression. I was trying to think of maybe a longer trilogy that I knew as a kid. Maybe it's Ninja Turtles, but like I didn't see the third one till way later. What was maybe Star Wars, you know, even though the OG trilogy has some, you know, some complaints and problems, but like there was a clear, very, very kind of cut out story, and the lore was there. Not with Puppet Master, friends. That shit was messy.
Almost every sequel feels like a reboot of the franchise that is ignoring the previous movies. Almost every movie ends with some sort of like interesting
Accurate. Now
setup
Jay's
for
the
a
one
next
spitting
movie
bars.
that just never happens.
My man's
They just
spitting
ignore it
bars
when
over
they make
here.
the next one.
If this series would have started in the modern day, like the lore YouTube nerds would have been all over every single one, because the lore changes every single time. Who Toulon is, where he came from. Is he a good guy? Is he
I
a
bet
bad
the
guy?
lore
Are the
is still
puppets good? Are the
discussed
puppets
about now.
evil? When his wife died, how his wife died, how he died.
When he died, the first movie, Andre Toulon, the Puppet Master, dies in 1939.
Yes.
He kills himself.
It's so goofy, guys. It's so weird. And I'll confess right now, the shit that's closest to my heart for the Puppet Masters is 1 through 5. That's where my real knowledge stops. And I have a shout out to a different company later. I can show y'all a little later. It was a fan made film of the puppets. I'll give a shout out to the production company and the people later. But yeah, I only really fucks with 1 through 5. After that, everything was like, huh?
The start of Puppet Master 2, they go to Toulon's grave. The puppets are trying to revive him. His grave says he died in 1941. Retro Puppet Master is mostly a flashback to when he was younger, but it starts with elderly him.
Yeah.
And that's in Berlin in 1944. Still alive.
Still alive.
Oh, rest in peace, Guy Rolfe. The Toulon from the Andre Toulon from. I think he gets introduced in Puppet Master 3. And the first one is Toulon's Miraculous Stringless Marionettes. That actor did really cool too. I gotta look up to who that was, because he was a really cool invisible man looking creepy dude. Played Toulon really, really cool and creepy. Very mysterious. Very, very, very compelling on screen. I appreciate that.
Not a lot of quality control on this franchise.
When he made what puppet? Are the puppets just alive, or are they the souls of his friends? And if so, what souls are in them? All changes. It's so fucked up. Trying to keep track of the story, Puppet Master to Puppet Master. Yeah, terrible. Like my notes are mostly lore. What's the lore?
Well, I don't even care too much about like those kind of details, but you want like basic continuity.
Basic continuity, are the puppets good or bad? That's it.
Well, they're more interesting when they're bad. Unfortunately, that's rare.
Now, Jay is my boy. I love Jay Bauman. He's cool. But I gotta say, I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree if they're more interesting when they're bad. And as we all know in internet speak, when you don't agree with somebody, that means I hate the very core of him. And I hope him and anything he loves just gets hit by a runaway train. Duh. No, but for real, like, maybe upon further examination, I think that the particular vernacular and the verbiage that he used, which is to say that they're more interesting, does hold some water and weight. See, because the interesting factor does indeed, because they're supposed to be evil puppets. But let's see. Well, here's the thing. As Jeff Goldblum would say, I don't know if I necessarily like them as evil puppets. I think I liked them, especially as a little kid. I liked them when they were good, because then it was like they could be my friends and they could fight evil Chuckies or other demonic toys or something of that nature. But yeah, no. I think maybe he's right in the sense that they are more interesting as evil puppets. But I used to really like them when they turned good, because then they became like more playful, kind of like, you know, like creatures and stuff that was like cool. But I know they'll probably get into it this time around. But I thought how they acted depended on the puppet master, whoever actually brought them to life. But also, like they said, it doesn't really congeal as to why some of the puppets seem to need either magic stuff or serum or brain matter to keep them alive, but Blade always seems to be like awake and alive. It's so weird. It's so weird, and I love it. But yeah, it was always strange. I really gotta like you gotta like think it through a little bit for what the continuity or some kind of consistency and everything, but it would have made a lot of sense. Hey, Full Moon, put me in the writer's room. I'll get you a solid concept and something that we can really stick to the wall and go through, and then maybe branch out just a tiny bit, but a good solid through line of if the puppet master was good, the puppets were good. If the puppet master was evil, the puppets did evil shit. But then yeah, they have their own agency, so yeah, you know what you gotta do? You gotta build your magic, man. You gotta build your magic world, set your guidelines, set your rules, and like really get that magic system in place, because it's very weird, and just so full of more holes than a AK thing of Swiss cheese. It's crazy.
When they're actually bad. Most of the series, they seem to be good guys.
Right? And as the series goes on, they were definitely lightening up on the blood and the boobs to appeal to a younger audience, but they were still R-rated.
Yeah.
Can I just say, never go south on the blood and the boobs. That's your selling point right there. And you know what? Let's be equal. You got blood, boobs, butts, fronts, backs, everything. Just don't skimp on it, you know? Just do it. Do it. Take a risk, man. Come on. Just take a risk, man. Stop being a bitch. Six shooter. I love that guy.
It's every individual puppet has their thing.
Yes.
And that's the foundation, which isn't a proper foundation of a story. It's just an idea for these puppets, and they'll do stuff.
Yes.
But you have Pinhead, who's got a tiny head, and he's super muscular. He's got
big hands.
Human hands, like the Swedish chef.
Yes.
All right, here's my impression of every main puppet. Okay, so there's Pinhead, right? Okay, and there's Blade. Yeah, I just realized Blade Blade in the Puppet Master series, he kind of like speaks he speaks baby parcel tongue. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I know my stuff a little bit, you know. So let's play. Yeah, in the first one he makes little noises. And there's Jester. You guys are. That's Jester. Six shooter. Leech Woman is. Oh, they made Leech Woman sound like Chug from the Goonies. And you have Tunneler, who's just kind of like. He doesn't do much. He goes like he's got a drill, but he doesn't make a lot of sounds. Tunneler doesn't. Who else? Torch. Very very mechanical. Okay, I'm being silly. Let's go.
I love that. And then Blade, of course, has a hook on one hand, a knife on the other.
Poster,
who has a
poster child for the Puppet Master series.
AKA Drill Sergeant in Retro Puppet Master is what they call him.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
All of the retro ones have the same name, except for Tunneler, they call Drill Sergeant.
I mean, that's more.
1 second, gotta get my Alabama whiskey. Oh my god, my whiskey tastes like a margarita. Play.
Clever name, and it just took them 6 movies to figure it out. But the lamest one is Jester, because all the puppets.
Again, see, this is why Train, Runaway, Family and Friends, gone. No, I'm kidding. I didn't think Jester was lame. He didn't do much. He did little things, but he didn't have. His spinny magical head thing. But he didn't have like a weapon on him. He could wield things, but he was just like, he get a little pair of scissors or a little hammer or something. But I didn't think he was lame. I thought he was adorable. I thought Jester was adorable, and he was. I remember in one of the boxes, in some Puppet Master wiki way before there was Wikipedia, I think. somebody they had wrote on some kind of forum or blog or something that said that Jester was supposed to be the brains of the operation. And I guess, God, I gotta rewatch these movies. I gotta buy them. I used to own, I think I had 3, 4, and 5 at one point. I don't remember what happened to the DVDs. Yeah, I gotta rewatch. But I don't remember if he ever like interacted with the puppets and was like, "You go over there, you go over there. Somebody cut my legs and threw them over there. Somebody took my hands and threw them over there." Like, I don't remember if he like coordinated the puppets. Like, I always kind of figured, especially when you hear about some of the stories behind the puppets, you think that maybe Blade is the brains of the operation. It's weird, but who cares?
Let's have like abilities that are useful in killing people.
Yeah.
And Jester, just his face changes expressions.
That's why me and Jay are boys.
But I do
that
like
he
all
doesn't
his
know about.
expressions.
Okay, here's what I love about Puppet Master 1. The puppets are moving right away.
Yes.
Scene 1, shot 1, those puppets are alive right away. No bullshit backstory.
They're not.
right?
You don't even know what's happening yet.
Awesome stuff.
And in the context of the first movie altogether, it's not really important. Like,
Yeah.
they could have made the story so much simpler, where it's just, oh, they go to because it's about a group of psychics that go to that hotel decades later.
Yeah.
And a colleague of theirs has died, but that colleague has the secret to bringing objects back to life.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily need the whole Andre Toulon Nazi backstory, but I like that it's there.
Yeah.
It just adds some more like intrigue to the whole thing, gives it some more flavor.
It gives it a little pepper, but it's also like that's the magical bullshit that explains why the puppets move. Lovely, right? That's all you need. You definitely don't need an entire series dedicated to the lore and the magic of why the puppets work.
See, in a hefty way, Jack is right. Like, you didn't need it. It's really cool to world build, as anybody who, because people tend to speculate and they want, people want just enough answers, and I guess it's just a matter of taste, it's a matter of how you like to eat your cinematic meals. Did you need that backstory? It's completely true. Like, think of it like when we talk about Halloween. In the first Halloween movie, Michael Myers, Jamie Lee Curtis, the whole nine, you had this person who was just supposed to be this evil being, and at the end, after getting shot 6 times and falling off a 2-story house, my man just gets up and walks away. It's just a perfect encapsulation of this sort of mythical shape that Michael Myers is, right? And it spawned the franchise, and all of a sudden there's a cult. It's called the cult of Nexima, Oxima, Norepinephrine. I don't remember the name of the cult right now. It's like Thrax or something. Dang, it's very late. It's very late right now, friends. But like you did, sometimes you just had answers that sometimes they were satisfying, sometimes they weren't. I personally sort of liked it because when I was younger, I liked to kind of try to intertwine my own stories and maybe think about and write my own stories in regards to, so if it is a cult, like maybe I can do a cool thing where I'm rewriting what the cult uses Michael Myers for and all this other stuff. I used to kind of do the same thing with the Puppet Master series. I don't know if it's some kind of, because it's horror, we tend to want to find answers. Hey, where's my mind going right now? I'm getting so deep that the third eye is opening into the vastness of the universe. And I'm going to Dr. Manhattan now in my tiny little office, and I'll destroy it. I hope not, because I don't have the money to pay for repairs. I really do wonder if there's something tied to the horror genre that makes people's that hit on the gas pedal for answers, so it's a little bit easier to bear. There's got to be some psychology to it where you need the answers for something scary. That way your survival instincts don't just freaking choke you to death, so you can make sense of the evil and all the things that go on out there in the world. So I wonder if there is something that's a little bit more, because I guess maybe you could do it with genre. Probably definitely don't need it with comedy or something like that, but with horror, I wonder if there's just that little extra need to answer those things. And I wonder if it's just something that people like to explore, even if it makes no goddamn sense and there's no consistency and absolutely no regulation of these stories. Yeah, it's something that's very curious and necessary. No, because sometimes the less answers you have, the more the more you can enjoy the story. Like the stuff going on with The Thing, Michael Myers. It's just something that is, what a question to ponder. If you want to run out, put it in the comments why you think. Do you like your horror to give you answers? Do you like it not to? Do you like complete barren wasteland of stuff and just whatever happens? Throw it in the comments. I would love to know your answers.
Is played by Uncle Lewis.
Yeah, it's famed old man actor William Hickey.
I honestly really know William Hickey from Major Payne. That's where I really know William Hickey is. I don't even know if that's one of his last movies, but I loved him in Major Payne. What?
Matte painting on a cliffside. I'm sure
that's an awe effect. Aw.
It looked better when we all had crappy TVs. That's a lot of Puppet Master I can forgive because we have beautiful, crisp, high definition TVs where we wouldn't see all of the strings.
Some of these sequels, yeah, those strings are pretty apparent.
And then they say there's no strings, but you can see the strings because they're in 4K now.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
That is, man, kindred spirits all the way, because like, for example, I saw The Deer Hunter a long time ago with my pops, and it was, he had The Deer Hunter on VHS, I think. Okay, that movie, it's a war film. I want to say mid-70s, I believe. I was thrown away. I didn't know what I was watching. I was young, and I was like, whoa, The Deer Hunter, this is crazy. Russian roulette. Okay, here's poor Christopher Walken and Robert De Niro and everybody. But then I saw he got the Blu-ray version of The Deer Hunter, and we watched it, and I was like, this looks weird, because it just looked too clean. And there was something about the grit of the film in the 70s that was just, it was just sort of tailor-made for that particular film. It was cool to have like a re-release of an animated film, or maybe something a little more fantastical where things are cleaned up, but there was just something odd about that. And I wonder if, like, I never saw a Blu-ray edition of the Puppet Master, but I bet if you did, you start seeing all the little, the poor people, they couldn't do that out because it was, low budget little studios of B movies, and you couldn't edit it out. And it's just weird. Sometimes I don't know, man. Sometimes the grain is way best for the brain. You know what I mean? Out there, ladies? Because it's just like, it's texture. It's like, it's the difference between like a spray painting or an oil painting, or like, painting on a gel versus painting on a canvas. Like, it's just different, So I wonder if sometimes you got to think about this, Lou. If you ever wonder about what medium you want to do and what your picture's gonna look like on the movie and the cinematic side, you gotta think about these things, Lou.
The whole movie's better, and on this rewatch, I hadn't seen it in a really long time.
Yeah.
In rewatching it, in the last, like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years, I've gotten more into like weird Italian horror movies, and it has a vaguely Italian.
Let's be real, Jay. You've always been into weird Italian horror films. Let's just be real, Jay. Granted, I'm not even saying that with any type of shade, because Jay has, in the many years of Best of the Worst and Half in the Bag and everything like that, he's made some really good recommendations that I've watched and that I took to heart, and I was like, hey, this is good stuff, Jay. All right.
Surreal and almost Shining like, but he's wearing this weird mask.
Also, by the way, a great way to stretch your budget is to use the same scene but have a couple of them be psychic visions of what's about to happen.
There's one part where the Gallagher's wife goes up to our main guy, whatever his name is, Hairman. She goes to his room. She's like, come with me. And they go through like a closed down section of the hotel. And she's talking about, I think she's talking about her husband or something. And then he wakes up. Stop! And then the exact same thing happens.
I remember this part.
In its entirety.
Yes.
No change at all.
I will say, I remember seeing that as a little kid, And I thought it was kind of cool, and absolutely, they're probably right that it was a budgetary thing. And, maybe they were just budgetary and trying to just stretch that runtime so they can get that feature length label and maybe get some more money. But I always thought that was kind of cool. And actually, and once again, more unsettling to like the psychic premonition. And this is in terms of the narrative, right? Like, I thought it was eerie, the fact that he did a complete play for his sort of precognition of what happened before, homie points the gun and they find like all the stuff with the puppets and everything like that. So I thought that was eerily because I've had dreams like that where it's probably in that kind of that same vein where you think you're waking up for school or something like that, and then turns out you're late as fuck. And then you just gotta run, and then you realize you ain't got no pants, but then you wake up and you're like, oh my god, I gotta run and I ain't got no pants and I'm not gonna be late. And then everybody's wondering why you went to school with no pants. Pants. It's a great comedic word. Pants. I just love that. Just Pinhead just runs up in there and gives her a right cross. Ooh. Ooh.
Move
and that's when we get the first few movies have some wonderful stop motion effects.
Absolutely.
Less and less of them as the series goes along, presumably for lack of budget.
Well, they still have stop motion effects. They're just reused from other movies.
I miss stop motion, man. I think the last stop motion thing that I saw was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Beautiful movie. Got some tears out of me. I was crying like a real man in that movie. That's a brilliant film. I think it's the last. I mean, that's a full stop motion film. I'm sure they probably enhanced some of the shots with some visual effects, maybe some computer generated effects. But I think from what I understand, the Pinocchio from Guillermo was fully stop motion. I'm not sure, man. That's a thing. They should do more stop motion. I think that'd be really cool if they use more stop motion type stuff. I know there's some horror movies and some probably like different types of. I think mostly horror, just horror that are using stop motion type things to tell the story, and that's really cool because stop motion is that medium is really cool to watch. And if you know how it works, it's intricate and it's man, you gotta have the patience of every pope and every Gandhi known to man and every Buddha.
But the effects, the stop motion was done by David Allen, who worked on tons of movies. He was at least nominated for an Academy Award for something. May have won.
Puppet Master?
Not for Puppet Master.
Absolutely for Puppet Master.
No.
Here are the nominees for Best Stop Motion. Titanic, 1997. Schindler's List, 1997. The Big Easy, 1927. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, 2020. And The One Man Show by Hugh Jackman and The Puppet Master. And every Oscar goes to The Puppet Master.
The stop motion shots anymore, but they don't even have like proper puppetry work, or it's just like a guy just kind of doing this.
And it looks like
that. And it's like, well, what am I watching this for? What am I supposed to get out of this?
Right.
You don't have the fun puppet stuff in Puppet Master.
Well, and
am I watching it for the plot?
Yeah, the puppets were just kind of gliding in that shot, and you can tell somebody just threw Pinhead at that dude, just whoop.
It's really difficult because I love, they made these wonderful behind-the-scenes featurettes for all of theirs that they kind of distributed on their tapes. They turned it into a whole, this was, early DVD content that they distributed. Full Moon did a wonderful job
on VHS, before DVD existed. That's what got me, hooked on Full Moon.
Yeah.
My guys over here are so right. Those behind-the-scenes Full Moon featurettes, oh, I was obsessed with those. I actually used to watch those with my sister and my father, and it was we would trip out as far as for seeing how they did all the behind the scenes things. And it seems so quaint now because it was the animatronics with the they using these wires and stuff to make these things. They learned what seemed to be relatively basic makeup techniques for some of the gore and all this other stuff that I think I learned some of that in school, but it was so awesome to see those behind the scenes featurettes. I used to love watching those. I was always hyped every time they came up on the Sci-Fi Channel. Like when Mortal Kombat came out, I was like, oh, how'd they do all this cool stuff with Mortal Kombat and all the CG? When The Mummy came out, I think 1999, it was cool to see how they animated the mummy and, you know, some of the things. But yeah, to look back at those practical effects and everything like that was just so awesome. It's so choice. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So awesome. So choice.
I think I mentioned that when we talked about Albert Pune, whereas like even if I rented a full moon movie and it was boring, I just fast forward to get to the video zone to see the behind the scenes stuff.
It was so cool.
Yep.
And you see like the team of people with like cables and like, you know, working these puppets. It's amazing. I want to say for one of the video zones, they had like all 4 of the puppeteers there, and they would talk about how they'd be like shoulder to shoulder, and you'd see them like, you know, working with wires and cables and strings, and the artistry there, the craftsmanship, wonderful. The puppets still look stupid because they just do this.
Yeah.
I gotta say, and maybe the guys will mention it too, but there was I know Jack is probably saying it out of love, and I think he sounds like, I know it's like him and Jay and Mike and even Rich, maybe like everybody seems to have like a really special place for like the clunkiness of these type of effects, the practical effects. But I used to really love, I don't know what it was about them, but the fact that they were always, if you look into the movie, the puppets rarely ever the original 5, not the later ones, but the puppets are always kind of in some type of motion, even when they're like sitting there listening and stuff like that. There's like, you know, they're sitting there and somebody be like, puppets. He's like, and once you get those brains, we're going to kill the people and da da da. But if it cut to the puppets, they would be like kind of doing something that would like just, you know, indicate life. They were always just kind of moving some way, and I always used to think that was just so cool. Actually, I didn't share Jack, maybe older or something, but even now I never shared like, it was like they look stupid. I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, of course it looks ridiculous, but I always just used to kind of really like that. Hell, I think even as a kid I was like, I'm gonna move like the puppets because they're cool, and I'm cool because I'm moving like the puppets because they're cool, and if they're cool, I'm cool because I'm moving like a puppet. You can do the puppet. Ooh, you just bring it around and up and it goes back. But yeah, it was such an interesting way because the puppets couldn't just kind of sit there and look and listen. You know, they tell actors, you know, remember, stillness is the art of acting for the camera. If you do nothing, the audience will do all the work for you. Just look. But you couldn't do that with a you know, uncanny valley, lifeless, creepy looking puppet. They had to show some sign of life. But yeah, it's what a fascinating thing that they probably had to do, because maybe, who knows, maybe they tried to just like, hey, just have the puppet listen, and it looked weird. It just looked like the puppet was just like, you know. So it's so cool. It's so cool to see them gesticulate and move. Is that the right word? Gesticulate? I don't care. Let's just keep watching because it's fun.
I don't know. There were some vague lore mumblings in the first movie about like the puppet master controlling the puppets. But then that doesn't really make sense later. But
But in the context of the first movie, yeah, because we see William Hickey's only in the opening scene, and it's very brief, but he comes across very like loving towards the puppets.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are like,
it is weird,
you know,
that such a
it's his
loving
people,
old
it's his
man
friends.
would make a puppet with a knife and a hook.
Sure, that's true.
And a lady that barfs leeches. That's his kink. I don't know.
He said that's his kink. I know. Out of all the puppets, Leech Woman's, you know, as we come to find out, Elsa's Leech Woman's power makes the least, or her ability makes the least amount of sense. It's just gross, and it's kind of freaky, and it's unsettling, and it sticks with you. So I guess maybe in a way it's absolutely genius, but yeah, it's she I don't know how she keeps, like, how do they keep growing? You know, it's part of the magic, I'm assuming.
Puppet Master 2.
Where do you land on Puppet Master 2?
Puppet Master 2
on our chart of gestures.
Ooh.
This one's
I'm
silly.
going to go.
Oh, I
with-
didn't do the face thing for this. Let's see. Puppet Master 2. Maybe out of all of Jester's faces, maybe number 1, like maybe a mix of number 1 and 2. Yeah, because I was kind of like, huh? Yeah, and I will say, Puppet Master 1 and 2 were the ones I initially watched the least. But when I saw it, I was like, what is happening? And then just being like, oh, Devious, they're evil again. But I guess so is Andre Toulon. All his love for his puppets just went out the goddamn window after he died. So whatever, you know, hey, Andre, they let you know. But yeah, maybe a mix between 1 and 2 for me.
5, because that seems to be the happiest and most unhinged.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna go with, because Puppet Master 2 is fucking crazy.
I'm gonna go with.
Jack's not
I
wrong.
think I'd go with 5 as well.
Right?
Because that looks like, yeah, that's like he's happy but sinister, and I think 2 spoilers is my favorite of the series. Right off the bat, I
Not
think
a
it's
bad
a
choice,
jump up
Jay.
in
Not a
terms
bad
of
choice.
visuals.
The origin of Blade. So that, he was a Faustian puppet. Great. That's why he looks so weird. Perfect. That's the lore for that. It's never gonna change.
Oh.
Never gonna change.
Oh, I forgot the-
Oh, Hamilton, kick it off.
Just you wait.
That's right. Everything changes in this series. Everything.
I mentioned this in the first movie. Yeah, speaking of Blade, his look, because the first movie was directed by David Schmoller, who directed a movie for Empire called Crawl Space, which is pretty good.
Okay.
Shot on the exact same sets that they shot Troll on. But the star of that movie was infamous actor Klaus Kinski, notoriously difficult to work with, like a raging asshole.
Oh, man.
And David Schmoller hated working with him on Crawl Space so much that he made a short film called Please Kill Mr. Kinski.
On the 4th day of shooting, I showed up on the set. The Italian producer had a pleasant smile on his face. He explained he had a solution to our problem with Mr. Kinski. He was going to kill him for the insurance money.
It's like, kill
And
the
he wasn't
motherfucker.
kidding.
But the Blade puppet was based on the look of Klaus Kinski.
Oh.
So if you look at his face, it looks like Klaus Kinski.
Oh, that's really
So
fun.
that's where that originates from.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
And I guess
But, you know,
Klaus
like,
Kinski looks like my man
appreciate-
from
I don't think it's
Puppet Master
necessary
3.
for a movie like this, but I appreciate that they are trying to establish a world, right? And as long as it's still throwaway bullshit, it's great. Like the drill dozer,
Drill Sergeant, aka
Tunneler.
Tunneler.
Drill Sergeant Tunneler.
I gotta say, Tunneler was always my favorite puppet. Couldn't tell you why. He was just always my favorite. Maybe because I liked his drill, and in the 4th one, he killed the little monster. I don't know why. Tunneler was always my favorite. I'll think about that back in therapy. I'll wonder why Tunneler is my favorite and all the other puppets, like, it's not like I didn't think they were pieces of crap or nothing. Like, he was just my favorite. I loved all of them, but he was just like, I don't know why I liked him the most. Because he was cool. Maybe because he was like the quiet, he was like the chillest one in a way. Just kind of like, just chilling, you know. Everybody else was kind of like more boisterous, you know, Blade, Pinhead, everybody. But Tunneler was just kind of like, yep. I'm cool. I can get all the puppet ass I want to. That's why I got the drill on my head, baby. Look at this drill on my head. This drill on my head. That's not the only head I got a drill. Okay. 2X rated for YouTube. Lighten up.
Oh, he's got like a little bit of a Nazi uniform. Great. Like he's running away from the Nazis. Perfect. That's all we need. This is all we need.
Another half century as Toulon's miraculous stringless marionettes.
Andre Toulon is over.
How was my impression of that earlier in the video? Write in the comments what you think about that.
Overtly evil in this movie. He is now a
Yes.
bad guy. He's like a mad scientist. It's great. You see, he's got all these like beacons.
You know, my man looks like, without all the raps, my man looks like the initial ghost of in Scrooged, the ghost that sees Bill Murray, lets him know like mankind should have been my business. He's like, "It's your last chance, Frank. You stop fucking up, Bill Murray. You're fucking up." Yeah, that's kind of what he looks like.
The new puppet in this one is Torch.
Torch.
He's my favorite puppet. I mean, he's out in like a park. I don't even know why he's there, but some little kid is out there like pretending to be Indiana Jones.
I'm the director. Do what I say. Move.
And whipping him, and Torch, just out of annoyance, just sets this kid on fire.
Love it. Fucking love it.
So the puppets are evil, and that's what.
For those of you wondering, you don't see it. It's just very much. That's the last of the thing. And like you see his eyes glow, and then there's the glow of the fire, and the kid's like, huh? But yeah, the kid's dead.
You want in a horror movie, and this is the last one of the whole series that I would say is like a horror movie.
This is what the first
Yeah,
movie should
he's
have
correct,
been. Just
pretty much.
Puppets killing for fun. I fucking love it.
I don't know if they're killing for fun necessarily. I guess, I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't make sense. And that's why it makes all the sense. It makes every sense. It makes so much sense. It makes dollars. And it ballers. Dollar ballers.
Point out that in order to live forever, which is what he wants to do, he has to inhabit the spirit of a doll. So we have these full-size, like human-sized dolls of him and his wife.
Crazy. And those mannequin life-size puppet thing gave my fiance nightmares because they're creepy looking. Those things messed me up as a little kid too. They're just like the big, I think it's like a face. They covered just the face, like up here, almost like a Phantom of the Opera mask or something like that, where it's just kind of this part. So it's like the eyes are just plastered on with so their mouths can, they can still have like a more realistic human mouth, and they just caked the whole thing with makeup, and it's just, it's an awesome makeup choice and a design, but it's creepy as.
Oh, with like
The
real
weird dead eyes.
but real like human mouths.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, loved it. It's great. And the only reasons
I
the
love that
puppets
they
get
got
mad
lazy.
at Toulon is because Toulon wanted to use his goop on his wife and not on the puppets.
See,
They're
everybody lies to the
fucker,
puppets.
we've been doing all the work. They were unionized, and they wanted a share of the profits.
Yeah.
And he was being an evil businessman.
Yeah, see, that's why I have a hard time believing that they were just made to be evil from the jump, when they clearly, yes, they'll do what they got to do to listen to the puppet master, and if they got to get the brain goop, they got to get the brain goop, but every time they do something, they get screwed over. So maybe they were just sick of having shitty bosses, and they like Jack said, they're unionized, and they get together and they just overtake and overthrow their bosses by murdering them and setting them on fire and shit, because they're sick of just be a good puppet master, be a good host for them, so they can just live their best lives of immortality. Why not? What's wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing.
I also love in any of these movies when someone throws the puppet, because then we see that these puppets are light.
Mm-hmm.
They have no mass to them whatsoever. How are they doing any damage? How is that man punching anything? How does he have the ability to slash when you can flick them away?
Yeah.
I love it.
Also, when you throw them, they just completely go limp.
Full moon or anybody's thing. Like I'll work it out. I'll make it make sense. If you want it make sense, I can try to make it make sense. Because I loved trying to make it make sense when I was a little kid. I used to think that maybe it was because of like all the gears and stuff. And I think in one of the movies, before he got into puppetry, Toulon was an engineer or something like that. So I always figured, like, even though they're very light, trying to think of like what's a mechanical equivalent of something that would, it's relatively light but it would still mess you up. I guess the first thing that came to mind was like a blender. Blenders aren't they got some heft, but like with horsepower that if you stick a finger in your blender, it's gonna mess you up. Or I guess ninjas nowadays, I'm sure maybe they're much lighter, but I figured it was like that. Like he engineered their gears so when they turned on, they had equivalent, adult strength or enough torque and horsepower to like cut, or Pinhead strangle and the drill, or like enough oomph to get them to get like at least normal strength of something that's supposed to be implied to have to be stronger than what they actually were. So that's what I always thought. Because I think Toulon was supposed to be some kind of engineer, or he has some kind of history of making stuff, mechanical things. So who knows?
What great murder fodder too, because we could fall in love with a lot of these people in the insane asylum. We want them to win, and maybe someone is in there who was like unjustly put in there, and they're trying to get out, but now they really have to get out because puppets are killing people.
None of the staff
no one
believes
her.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great fucking setup.
Never heard from again.
We have children to enchant.
Yeah, it's just so great. And I wonder, like, you just want them to kill and everything. It's like what I said before. Like, it's a lot of fun, and like Jay said, it's very interesting. But yeah, number 2 is a wild ass ride, and I do agree. Again, just no follow through with everything is. It's almost like an episode of Twilight Zone, but just with the same characters or something like that. It's just it just happens. It just happens to be. Let me tell a different story with all the Puppet Master lore, and everything's kind of vaguely connected. But yeah, it was enjoyable, and I think my appreciation for 1 and 2 grew as I got older, especially when I rewatched them again, as far as for just what they were trying to do, and when I finally freaking understood how a B movie studio would actually work, and how different visions and different writers and basically a whole different team, just how that works inside of a property like this. Hey, it's cool. I wish I would have knew that sooner, because I wouldn't have been so goddamn confused when I was a little kid. Now it looks like we move on to Puppet Master 3. Puppet Master 3.
Now we move on to Puppet Master 3, Jack.
Oh,
hey, I was right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I have no idea if this whole thing is even in shot. I guess it doesn't matter.
No, you'll show up a graphic. You'll show a graphic later. I feel about Puppet Master 3.
Oh, okay.
This is the Puppet Master movie where things started falling apart.
3 is generally considered to be like
I'm
the
gonna go with
fan
6.
favorite. People love this one.
Yeah, people are idiots.
Whoa, yeah, easy, Jack. The skeleton, Jack, the balding. No, I'm just playing. But okay, so obviously Jack is definitely allowed to have his opinion, and I can understand, especially for the fact that like the type of taste that Jay and Jack have for the franchise, right? I would say. And this might not necessarily dispute his claim of people being stupid or people being dumb, but I think the reason that one is the fan favorite is because it's easily the most accessible. The silliness of them fighting like demons and stuff is like okay, cool, I can get behind it. Cool. The demons are just demons who don't want the secret to come out, but like the evil puppets fighting Nazis. Like, can you imagine how kind of just what a crazy story it would be if somehow Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, and let's say, just to throw in a little bit of mix in there, like the Candyman, somehow ended up in 1930s like Germany, like late 1930s Germany, or like 1941 Germany, with the Nazi occupying Europe and stuff. Can you imagine like the damage they would do? Because obviously Michael and Jason and Candyman probably would discriminate toward who he kills and stuff, but like Michael and Jason, hell to the no, they're gonna kill whoever. But that also means if there's Nazis in their way, you bet all the Nazis are gonna die. So I don't know, I think that'd be really cool and really fun, and I think that's where I appreciated what the puppets were doing in the movies, just killing Natzers. The puppets were the first inglorious bastards. Take that to the grave, Quentin. Hell yeah, the puppets were the first inglorious bastards.
As a bushwhacking guerrilla army, we're going to be doing one thing and one thing only. Killing Nazis. Sound good? Yes, sir!
On it.
Oh,
There's a lot I like and a lot I don't.
interesting.
I think on a general like production level,
Yeah.
this is the most impressive. We have all these like exterior shots of Nazi-occupied Berlin.
Yeah, in Berlin.
The story goes, this is also from that Filmmaking on the Fringe book that I have, because this whole movie is, this is Andre Toulon during the war.
Yeah, the prequel.
Yeah, it's not in
prequel.
Berlin.
But so there's all these
think I heard
like
that they are
exterior
in the
shots,
back lot of
establishing
Universal,
shots
I
of
think.
Berlin. Lots of extras. It's a
remember.
lot like higher production value than these movies have had.
I made a suggestion to Charlie. I said, look, I can condense our exterior shots to 2 or 3 days, 4 days. Let's shoot them on the Universal backlot.
And so at the last minute,
Hey.
he scrambled together. They shot on sets that were at the Full Moon studio. But all the establishing shots, they actually ponied up the money to shoot on the Universal backlot.
Yes.
So the same sets that like the original Frankenstein was shot on, that's what we're seeing when we see all these exterior shots. It's genuinely impressive.
Yep, my friends. I worked at Universal. I worked at Universal and with Universal for almost 5 years, and yep, just right down the road, you got the clock tower from Back to the Future, and you just keep going. You got like old, you got like Europe Town, you got the Western Town, you got all kinds of places. So yeah, it's right there. You just walk a 2-minute walk, just going down.
Clock tower or whatever, the clock building. I want to say it's in the background of there somewhere.
Okay.
But I also watched, we watched 7 movies, and I watched seven video zones as well, and read the 4 comic books. So there's a lot of
I've always been curious to read the Puppet Master comic books.
It's amazing how much content is out there when there's so little story. It's really amazing.
Full Moon introduces the Puppet Master action figure series. 8 dolls that come alive with movable parts and accessories to
God.
spare.
I cannot believe that a general
I know
audience
it's the.
liked
Hang on,
this, but
Jack. I know it's like the. I know like the little toys don't always look like the thing, but that was my big thing about when I saw the toys. Even when I was little, I was like, hey, they don't really look like they look kind of weird and vaguely cheap, I suppose. But I wonder what happened to the original molds of the puppets. Like, what happened to the original molds and like that design of the puppets? Because like, yeah, look how kind of like, you see how it's just a little off, doesn't quite look like the movie, you know?
There are aspects that I like. Guy Rolfe is the actor playing Andre Toulon.
Yeah.
And I like him I like all the actors. This is probably the best cast of any of them.
100%.
His wife is Sarah Douglas, who was in like Superman 2.
Hey.
Richard Lynch is the villain, who was Best of the Worst. Been on several Best
Yeah, he
of the
looks
Worst
like Klaus
movies.
Kinski.
He was in a Low Blow.
He was not Low Blow. He was in Showdown, the movie that took place on the abandoned town full of gangsters.
That's right.
He's also in. He made a cameo, or not a cameo, but like he made an appearance in the Rob Zombie Halloween movie. I think he's like the principal or the counselor or something like that.
Great, wonderful actor. Great villain, really like hamming it up, really, and not even hamming it, like just playing he's playing a Nazi and he is having a great time. Like, oh, I just get to be evil. Okay, so this is why it's frowny face for me. They went too far with the lore. This is the movie where we discover that every puppet is the soul of one of Toulon's friends or loved ones.
Oh, I see. I think I see vaguely where Jack is going right now. Did people in the comment section let me know, because I honestly never had a problem with the fact that the puppets are a sort of mystical transference of people you knew in life. Let me think about that for a little bit. No, honestly, no, it didn't bug me. I can understand why it would bug somebody, because it's like, if you just want your puppets to be, ruthless sort of just magical marionettes of murder, then yeah, they don't need to have the souls of humans. They're just basically there to do the bidding of the puppet master with no real agency. But I think that's why it didn't bug me so much, is because throughout the movies they clearly had agency like that of a human. So it makes sense that they tied in like, oh, the puppets were people in life and they don't want to get f***ed over like normal people in life. And granted, like their motivations and why sometimes Toulon liked them but then he didn't, and how they went about killing or whatever. Like, I know that doesn't make sense, but like, yeah, the puppets always seem to have agency of some kind, because if you started to mess with them, they would retaliate. So I don't know, man. This shit's crazy, but yeah, I will say. So I gotta tell, if I was there, guys, Jack, understand that it was always kind of hinted at, so it's not a big old surprise that the puppets might have some type of really deep-rooted humanity, like a human soul or consciousness or something like that. Okay, Jack and Jay. God.
So, Pinhead was this, lovable, Jewish truck driver who died to the Nazis. Oh. And Leech Woman is Mrs. Toulon, who it starts to recontextualize a lot.
Yeah, that part is weird. Like, why is she like
Leech Woman did in the early
sucking
movies.
on the dude's chest hair?
We also learned that Blade is the soul of the kindly old scientist. Blade! The most evil-looking puppet ever is the soul of a kindly German scientist. I want to say kindly. He was also experimenting on dead bodies.
Yeah. He's following orders. He was under the thumb of
the consistency of the story, but
and of
it
course,
makes a little bit of sense.
For Andre Toulon.
Yes. He did not want to harm Toulon. He wanted to do science.
What's weird though is it looks like,
and also
if
maybe
anything,
that was the reason he was the one
the
extracting
soul of the Richard Lynch.
Hey, shush. Maybe that was the reason he was the one extracting the brains, because he's a scientist and he's a doctor, so he knows how to do it without, doing too much. He knew which part of the brain to take and did not cause too much damage. Hey, making connections here.
But it's also upsetting because like before it was like, no, this was my Faustian devil puppet. The throwaway. That's why he looks so creepy. But now it's the embodiment of a Nazi soldier, and they do kind of look alike. They dress alike. But it's like, why are you messing with it? Just make it a creepy puppet.
Yeah. Well, it's a way. I mean, there's a long scene.
And like I said before, I completely understand that. That makes a lot of sense. If that's the meal you're going for and that's what you're expecting, understood 1000%. I thought it was just kind of fascinating, and I'd also be curious to wonder, like, hey, what is that like for the puppets? I wonder what Is it the whole RoboCop 2 thing where they get those police officers get put into the bodies and the one rips his head off? He's like, ah! And the only successful quote unquote RoboCop is RoboCop, Murphy, and I guess maybe Kane, but even then he's like, he's kind of crazy and he needs that red solution. He needs his red Gatorade or something, like some shit. So yeah, I wonder if it's torturous for them or if they're kind of content. All they need is just the formula, But yeah, if they're happy, hey, if they're happy, I'm happy. If they're happy, I'm very happy.
Hans Seidemann, the bookkeeper. Herman Stubbs, the will to live, smuggling. I knew each of them before they were cut down. That was the difference. They all wanted they wanted by chance to go on fight. They wanted that was the.
You don't have to have a lot of puppet action, just to have them keep talking. But we get a new puppet, 6-shooter.
Okay, I'm just gonna pause real quick. I don't know. I thought, in a way, the third one was amongst the more complete of the stories, because I think in that same monologue where Toulon is telling the doctor about, what is the secret and everything like that, he also says that it's like, and I think they say it in, hey, funny enough, in RoboCop, but it's like the will to live, the desire to live is one of the main drivers of what you need in order to make this magic and this spell and all the things that they do for the formula in order to make it work. That's what they need. They needed to have a real kind of, I guess maybe a purpose. If you can pull from Casper the Friendly Ghost, starring Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman and Casper, but you need like your life's purpose, and therefore you it's probably easier to do that. I'm sure these Nazi soldiers didn't feel that way, getting their heads blown out the back of their skulls and shit like that. But like, to me, that makes a lot of sense, especially in the realm of, when you talk about magic and things like that, or like necromancy, something like that, like just pulling off of what little I know of the fantasy genre and the sort of mystical things you pull up in the area of fiction. For something like that to work, yes, you do need that particular type of energy to go forth and do that. You need a will. So the Green Lanterns would be kick-ass at this, right? But you need will to persist in that way, and why it probably works. So I think that's why just the cohesiveness made sense to me, and the fact that these were people who were all resisting the Nazis and trying to do good and cut off whatever they could, basically cripple whatever sort of agenda that the Nazis had in this time. They're trying to do what they can. He was saying like, oh, they're smuggling out and doing these things against the Nazis, and all of a sudden they get unjustly murdered. What better way for you to want to come back? At least your spirit, the energy of your soul, comes back from that. It makes perfect sense to me. So that's why I was like, hey, I don't understand why this, like, hence I said, like, it's the most accessible and probably the well-rounded. If this was like number one, I think it would have been, if this was Puppet Master 1, I think it would have been obviously a whole different franchise, but like kind of cool. I think it'd be really cool. I would watch that. Not for the horror aspect, but probably just for like the same reason you watch John Wick. You want these puppets to just kick ass and kill evildoers, Fucking do it.
Also, the craftsmanship behind puppeting that in the video zone, they show like their coordination to make him actually like draw all 6 guns, and 3 different people puppeting 8
That's
different
insane.
pulleys.
That's crazy.
Beautiful.
And really awesome.
It looks kind of stupid. But it's beautiful.
It's charming. It's fun.
Charm. Ooh, that's the word.
But then there's another part where 6 shooters climbing up the side of a building, and there's just all these wires. You just see every wire.
And it's also very silly that he is spider climbing the side of a building, and no one notices.
No one sees
the
him.
wide shot of him climbing is adorable. Just his little like.
Well, that's like going back to the first movie when Blade's running around the hotel at the beginning of the movie. Yeah. He's like hiding behind behind people, and just nobody ever sees him.
But yes, like we did not need a scene that showed Toulon looking up to see jars full of leeches.
The less we try and explain Leech Woman, the better, because like if you really think about it, like where are these leeches coming from?
Yeah.
She just like can endlessly vomit leeches.
Right.
Where are they?
A thing I love, because of course, in any horror movie, especially direct-to-video, you need some boobs.
See, I told you, you never skip on the boobs. Let me think. What would have been a really cool alternative for Leech Woman that's not leeches? The first thing that came to mind was like acid. Like she could spray acid out of her mouth. If there's like a thematic or maybe some type of a poetic justice toward, she was shot, but 6 Shooter has like, my man's got the patent on all the guns. He's copyrighted the guns. That's their firepower right there. What would have been an alternative to Leech Woman, and something he could have gave Elsa as an ability to avenge herself and contribute to the massacres? Know what? No, I'm gonna stick with the acid thing, because she gets shot, right? Elsa gets shot, and it's not like a fatal wound. I think it's like in this area, maybe like her upper chest, so maybe it missed anything vital like her lung or anything. But then when they're leaving, she spits on Kraus. I think his name's Kraus, the guy who looks like Klaus Kinski. the evil Nazi guy, and then he shoots her. So I was right. Oh, I had that revelation. There it is. There it is, friends. He should have gave her like acid spit. She could spray acid and just like melt people's faces with like the corrosiveness of a xenomorph. That would have been cool and a little more poetic. We're working here, friends. We're working.
Stringing up that Nazi like a puppet.
Yeah. Oh. Well, that's as almost as a thematic kind of aspect to it that is not present in the rest of these movies.
Right.
But like, yeah, his hand's all fucked up. It's like spurting blood. He's backlit, which is really kind of like visually striking.
Oh, really beautiful shot as he is being raised up, murdering him like a puppet. Great shot.
And Richard Lynch is like acting the hell out of that scene. He's like crying and yelling and like snot's coming out of his face.
Yeah, you know.
And then the movie's over. That's what you, okay, we're done.
Also, Jesus, how strong is Toulon to like with the single like small little rope, like a wool rope or something, just hoisting him up and just like, it's cool. Yeah, freaking Toulon doing his freaking tricep pushdowns and everything in his life. All right, Toulon. Gains for days, sir.
You can get 6-shooter, torch, tunneler, pinhead, and blade. And let me tell you, it's a real bargain.
Oh, she's sweet. She's very sweet. All right, friends. So that looks like it wraps it all up with the Puppet Master. Oh, I almost forgot, my friends. I had something, a really cool little fan-made film right here. Going in from this production company, Puppet Master Revival, a fan film. Really fun, and like it was cool because they kind of took like, again, the good puppets, and somehow the puppets got into the hands of this kid who works at a toy shop. And Puppet Master Revival, I'm just showing a little clip. I didn't want to, because I don't know if I have the rights, but I just want to plug this bad boy. Go ahead and check this. If you're a Puppet Master fan, check out this fan made film, because it was cool and I really enjoyed it. And you know, they did what they could with the effects and everything like that. It was fun. I would love to make my own little Puppet Master fan film one day. And I love that, you know, so many properties get like a fun, you know, fan-made films that expand on the lore, just take a deep dive, or they just make their own. Like it's a dream come true to live inside your own IPs. It's cool. Well, let me know what y'all thought in the comments, and you know, link below. Let me know. They have 2 more videos, but I don't know if I have much to say on the very last one, but I know in the it looks like in the second one, so 1 and 3, and it looks like they're going to talk about, so you got 1 through 3, and they're going to talk about 4 and 5, and maybe like the Curse of the Puppet Master, Retro Puppet Master, like Axis of Evil, and all this other stuff that like I still got no real freaking clue what's going on. But if you want me to do, I can safely go up to Puppet Master 5 and a little bit of the other ones. If you want me to do the next one, friends, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to. If y'all want to just have a really fun discussion about Puppet Master, please let me know, because I think that'd be interesting, and we all could nerd out about one of my favorite properties growing up as a little kid. All right, it was so much fun hanging out with y'all and hanging out with my boys Jay and Jack. Don't say anything, guys. You're too important. I'll see you later, okay? I'll see you guys at the pizza party. All right, guys. Later. They said bye. So, friends, don't forget to like and subscribe. The notifications so you get the things. Follow on the socials. Just enjoy. I love making this stuff for you, okay? So, it's Dimitri, your friendly neighborhood Heyoka, saying, remember, peace is the default, damn near everything is nuanced, and please, just be fucking excellent to each other. All right, y'all? I think that's a see you later. Peace. Boom, can, boom, can't. Please don't sue me, Red Letter Media, cause I'm just beatboxing the thing.